This woman will never, ever, ever stop lying to us.
Why are you repeating this false claim that Republicans voted to reduce the number of Border Patrol agents, even though the Washington Post gave the administration 3 Pinocchios for that?
So we don't believe it's a false claim. Our statements were very direct here. Last year, House GOP voted, and not only did they vote for it, but they touted their Limit, Save, Grow Act. That's the act.
Well, limit, and they vowed that it would never affect Border Patrol.
They voted for and touted it, right? This is an act. And this would have forced the elimination of 2,000 Border Patrol agents. That's what this act that they touted, that they voted for in the House. So that was their proposal, and that was what they voted for back in May.
They clearly stated at that time that Border Patrol, also veterans' benefits and entitlements would never be impacted by any of the reductions. And also the bill never had any appropriations in it. So this claim that you guys are rolling out, it's the White House applying White House math to a bill that never had any appropriations. And moreover, the administration or the members in Congress who put this together vowed that it wouldn't affect these things. So the reason I ask is because it's just, to voters, don't you think they know the difference between what is a truthful statement and what is spin? And is it insulting to them at all to keep saying it when it's just not true?
One thing that the president does not do is insult voters or American people.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He would never, ever, ever insult American voters or the American people, unless, of course, they vote for someone who's not a Democrat. Then they're not American people. They're not American voters. They're not even people at all. They're MAGA extremists. And honestly, she knows what the president has said. It's amazing that she would even say that, and that was her answer to Heinrich's point that there was never any appropriation, that this is just the White House applying White House math, which is incredibly spot on. And I really, really love the way she put that. But it's true. I mean, how often have they gotten away with this very, very same behavior, man? It's almost like the White House is completely run by people that not only supply the propaganda, but also, for some reason, completely and totally fully believe all of their own insanity. And this is why they tell people, do not get high on your own supply. Propaganda, apparently it applies to propaganda more than anything else, but I just want to run that back. I want to watch it one more time because maybe she didn't actually say it quite like I heard it.
One thing that the president does not do is insult voters or American people, to be more exact, because I want to be careful about this, what I can say about this upcoming election. What I will say is, if you look at the bill, this act that they touted, that they voted for, House Republicans back in May, it was very clear that it would have forced the elimination of 2,000 Border Patrol agents. That's what that act would have done. We were very direct about that. We were very clear about that. This is what they touted. This is what they put out there. This is what House Republicans voted for. I mean, that's where they are. They have gotten in the way every time we are trying to deal with the border. House Republicans have gotten in the way. So we appreciate the bipartisan conversation that we're having with Republicans. Let's not forget, with Republicans in the Senate. That's why it's bipartisan, and Democrats on dealing with the border. House Republicans get in the way. They wanted to literally eliminate 2,000 Border Patrol agents in this particular act that they touted, that they voted for back in May.
Notwithstanding all of the fact checks on that, if you're saying that the White House, the president doesn't want to insult the American people, will the administration then amend its separate statement that imply that Texas officials were responsible for the deaths of 3 migrants when in fact they had nothing to do with it? They had already been dead for an hour by the time Mexico told anyone in the U.S. about it. And the administration admitted as much in their court filing. They acknowledged that in their court filing, but the statement from the White House implies that Texas was responsible. And a number of outlets were forced to issue corrections and editor's notes because of that White House statement. So will the White House amend that statement?
So let's be sensitive here. 3 people died. 3 migrants died. 2 children and a woman. That was devastating. devastating situation, heartbreaking situation. So let's be really mindful of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I'm of course I'm going to let her continue, but she wants to be mindful about what it is we're talking about, and it is important. So we should be mindful. So let's set the baseline and let's actually be mindful about what it is we're talking about. We already know that Texas holds no responsibility. So who is responsible? Because somebody's got to be responsible. Who could possibly be responsible for what the International Organization of Migration claims is the deadliest land route for migration in the entire freaking world? And guys, just think about that for a second. How sad is that? The most dangerous route for migration, land route for migration in the world, is coming into the most powerful, wealthiest country on the planet. Now, I might be biased, but my gut tells me that the people who are actually responsible for this are the ones who put in place policies and procedures that have not only incentivized, but invited all these desperate people from around the world to literally risk everything in order to become what? A second-class citizen, some modern-day type slave, in a place that those same policymakers, by the way, are going to tell you that it's the most racist and worst country in the entire world. Those are the responsible people. All while all these poor, propagandized, low information voters just continually keep them in power. And just, they believe it. They believe every bit of it. They all pound their chest and tell the rest of us just how accepting and how tolerant and how humanitarian they are, while how evil we are.
I want to take a step back and just as you're talking about our statement, look, as I mentioned, a woman and 2 children died. They drowned near Eagle Pass, which is, as I said, devastating, and that Texas officials blocked Border Patrol from accessing the area. That's what was happening at that time. Our statement is consistent with DOJ's filing. As the DOJ filing said, there was an ongoing emergency situation that Border Patrol was blocked from accessing. There were other migrants in the water as well. But I'm just saying there was an ongoing.
The White House statement the White House statement says that Texas officials blocked U.S. Border Patrol from attempting to provide emergency assistance.
There were other migrants in the water.
Then why wasn't
well.
that included in the
there
statement?
There were other migrants in the water.
That's what you were referring to.
Our statement is very much consistent with DOJ filing. Anything else specific you want to know about that? I would certainly refer you to DOJ.
Yeah, it's amazingly it took her that long to get to it, but here's where she always ends up. I've said what I'm going to say. I've repeated it enough to confuse as many people as possible, and now if you need to know more, I'm just going to refer you to some other agency, this other agency that's going to ignore you. And just so we're clear, Hatch Act, the president loves his son, and Hatch Act. That is basically the extent of her playbook. And it really, man, it freaking hurts my brain to listen to her. And guys, anyone watching this, if you're a business owner or you have hiring and firing as part of your work responsibilities, please take this as a lesson. Always remember how bad an affirmative action hire really, really can go. Because they're very tough to get rid of, by the way. But here's what I think the takeaway is here. It's just simple ones and zeros, man. Our government's policies are killing more than 1,000 migrants a year. Most years, almost every single year. People are dying every single day. And there's no alligator tears. There's no acknowledgments. There's no freaking press releases unless they can use it. We have a government that's not only so careless that people are dying, but we have a government that will politicize those deaths if they think that they can use them to exact even just a tiny, tiny bit of political revenge. And really just look at it, who they're trying to get revenge over and why. They want revenge against Texas because Texas has dared to step in where the federal government has failed and protect their own border, protect their own citizens, and protect their already incredibly thin community resources. That's where we're at, man. They invite these people to die. They vilify the people that try to stop them and stop it. And then when someone does die, they try to use it to their advantage and they try to bang someone over the head with it. This is what you get from the self-professed humanitarians. This is what you get from the tolerant, vote blue no matter who, democracy-saving Democrats. But anyway, that's just my take, guys. Guys, if you like this content, please comment, hit the like button. And if you love it, join us and subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, share. This is going to be a very, very important year for getting our conservative voices heard, and we have got to do it together, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, guys, please keep the faith.